She works over there at the laundromat. She's a wonderful, wonderful lady.
Did a dispute over the treatment of a dog lead to murder in Brampton?
Tonight, a woman killed in a violent altercation and 2 others injured. What we're learning about the victim and the man charged in the case. Good evening. We begin tonight with a Peel Police homicide investigation.
Witnesses say the argument turned deadly overnight. Friends have identified the victim while her neighbour is charged with second-degree murder. CTV's John Musselman joins us live from the scene at Centre Street North and Queen Street East in Brampton. John.
Well, Natalie, it all unfolded in the White House behind me, and yes, neighbors say this was over the treatment of a small dog, and there had been some complaints, and they believe that's what led to this situation. Peel Regional Police were called to this Brampton rooming house around 12:30 this morning after reports came in regarding some type of altercation. They found one person dead inside number 17 Centre Street North. Police are not releasing the victim's name, but residents and neighbors identify her as June Curtis, believed to be in her 70s. We spoke with her distraught friend at the scene today. She did not want to appear on camera.
We went every week and we had lunch, breakfast, whatever you want, but it's been like 15, 16 years. So it's been a very long time. The most loving, gracious person. She never would turn you away.
Residents say June was well known and well liked. She was a longtime employee at this laundromat located around the corner on Queen Street.
I knew her just as a laundromat, talking to her because every time I went over there, she's really nice, right? So I talked to her at the laundromat. She seemed like a really nice lady.
But it's a shame because she works over there at the laundromat. She's a wonderful, wonderful lady.
Nicest lady there is. Nicest lady, she didn't shoot off her back or do anything.
A 65-year-old man who also lives at the same address has been charged with second-degree murder. Police identify him as Wilford Kent. He is also facing 2 counts of aggravated assault when 2 residents next door were also allegedly attacked with a sharp-edged weapon. Their injuries are not life-threatening. Investigators won't discuss a motive, but neighbors say the victim reported the accused to police after he allegedly mistreated a small dog he owned. Court records show Kent was charged on July 30th with willfully causing pain and suffering to an animal.
Over a dog argument, that seems like an extreme for a dog argument, unfortunately. That's a shame.
Court records also show the accused is known to Peel Regional Police. He has previous charges for assault and uttering death threats. The home has been sealed off as police continue the investigation into this homicide. And neighbors also tell us that there were other complaints about the treatment of that dog from other residents nearby. They also tell us that the accused would often be in the street agitated and threatening people. Police have not confirmed any of this information. We know the accused has been remanded in custody. He'll be back in the Brampton court on August the 12th. Reporting live in Brampton, I'm John Musselman. I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, John. Toronto police are investigating an afternoon shooting in Scarborough. It happened just before 3 inside a high-rise near Danforth and Midland. Paramedics say 1 person was taken to hospital with serious but non-life-threatening injuries. Police remain on the scene this evening.
And police are searching for 2 suspects after a shooting in North York sent 2 men to hospital. It happened around 10:30 last night in the Jane and Driftwood area. Police say 2 male suspects fled the scene in a dark-colored vehicle, one wearing black clothing, the other in a red shirt. Police say a 19-year-old man suffered a gunshot wound and was taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The second victim, also 19, suffered minor injuries.
And an attempted murder charge has been laid in a weekend stabbing in Kensington Market. It happened early Sunday morning near Bellevue Square Park. A man was taken to hospital in life-threatening condition after being found with multiple stab wounds. Police say the suspect was arrested in Niagara at the Queenston-Lewiston Bridge with the help of border officers and has since been returned to Toronto. 38-year-old Mortezak Haja Sadiavia of Guelph is facing multiple charges.
Also tonight, continued fallout from the $1 million Durham door. The emotional cost of the controversy on city staff. We'll explain just ahead. But first, if you've been outside today, you likely noticed a slight improvement in the air quality, but concerns over Toronto's air pollution linger.
It comes on the heels of a hazy long weekend and what has been a smog-filled summer in the city. And officials warn we haven't seen the last of it. CTV's Beth McDonnell joins us live with the details. Beth.
Raheem, the skyline is still hazy tonight, even though it seems the air quality is improving. Today, fluctuating between low health risk and moderate health risk compared to the weekend when there was a high health risk. At Riverdale Park, Nathan Dang and his friends have noticed the smoky skyline.
I live in this area, so usually when I go here, I would be able to see the CN Tower really clearly, but today not much. I was taking the picture of the CN Tower, but couldn't really see.
Over the weekend and into today, out-of-control wildfires in Ontario and across the prairies have made sunrises and sunsets in the city give off an especially orange glow. In fact, so much smoke wafted over it created some of the worst air quality in the world.
My eyes, yes. I see my eyes getting red and stuff, yes.
The air quality alert has now been lifted and conditions are forecast to improve over the next 2 days. Still, dozens of wildfires are burning across the country. This is a look at the hot spots. Each dot can be one or more fires. Many of them sending smoke to southern Ontario, creating a blanket of haze, causing some to take precautions.
We avoid being outside for too long and do stuff in the morning and the evening when it's not so bad.
I just love being outdoors. Actually, it's not that bad.
This hasn't stopped me from doing anything at this point, yeah. Obviously, it's concerning.
Health experts say people with heart and lung conditions are most at risk, along with seniors, people who are pregnant, and infants. But there can be consequences even for healthy people with chronic exposure.
Definitely minimizing our time outside, especially activities that are really intense. We need to reschedule activities for those who are especially at risk, like children who are mandated to be outdoors. We need to be protecting them.
Environment Canada says already this year the GTA has seen 12 days under some type of air quality alert, matching the total number of alerts in 2023.
If we get back into another stretch of days where the wind is from the northwest, which is where those fires are relative to, say, Toronto or the southern Ontario in general, we could get into another episode of smoke potentially later this month or even in September, unfortunately.
The agency expects a southerly air mass to clear out smoke this weekend and next week. Federal guidelines suggest when the health risk is high for the general population to consider reducing or rescheduling strenuous activities. Reporting live, I'm Beth McDonnell. Raheem, back to you.
Thank you, Beth.
Well, we saw the smoky skyline in Beth's report. Let's go outside now for a live look at the conditions. Little bit of sunshine, but definitely still some haze in the air at this hour. Jessica Smith is here with a first look at the forecast. Jess.
Definitely when you look outside, we're still seeing that wildfire smoke out there, but we're just not under an air quality statement or warning right now. It doesn't mean that it's gone. It's just not at a level close enough to the ground that we're issuing those alerts. But still, nonetheless, as Beth mentioned, to be careful spending time outside. We're also contending with a few light clouds out there, kind of adding to it. But don't let cloud cover or that haze fool you on a sunny day. We can still get a burn. You're looking at a pretty high UV index. We're looking at temperatures right now, still in the mid-20s, feeling into the low 30s. That heat not going anywhere as we head into this evening. We will see winds go from easterly to northeasterly tonight. It doesn't do much, though, to help cool things down. Over towards the islands, sitting around 25, still feeling like 32. Out towards Pearson, 28, feeling like 30. And the low tonight, 20 degrees. So we'd stay above seasonal, and that's how we start the day tomorrow. I wish I could say there was some relief on the way, but it truly only gets hotter as we head in towards the weekend. Coming up, I'll have a full look at your long-range forecast. We'll talk about the rest of the week and what you can expect looking ahead to your Saturday and Sunday. But right now, I'll send things back over to Raheem and Natalie.
Thanks, Jess. We're following up tonight on a story that opened Durham region to a whole lot of criticism. A new revolving door with a close to $1 million price tag.
As you can imagine, the expensive entrance sparked plenty of complaints from taxpayers. So much so, the region is offering support to the staff who are handling the angry calls. CTV's Janice Golding reports.
They're not in use yet, but the new energy-saving revolving doors at Durham Regional Headquarters are already generating a lot of heat.
Oh my God, I'm in a good mood. Don't get me started.
I guess we have money to blow just for the city.
Regional Councillor Chris Leahy first brought our attention to this issue a couple weeks ago.
When I first heard about the final cost of the revolving door system, I was shocked, just under $1 million.
Leahy says the project was originally supposed to cost about $740,000.
The spending was, I've got numbers from 901 to 912, plus I have staff time, you have different things, you've got HST, you have all these costs.
Since then, the Region's 311 operators have been inundated with angry, frustrated calls, prompting the manager of Service Durham to send out an email to them saying, I know that some callers have expressed their frustrations in ways that are inappropriate and at times even verbally abusive. Please know that I see the effort, professionalism, and grace you continue to demonstrate in the face of this. The letter urging operators to take breaks and to seek support from the Employee Assistance Program when needed.
It wasn't just about 2 doors being replaced. This was about a reconstruction of the entrance into the building.
Regional Chair John Henry says city staff, including councillors, are used to fielding complaints. But in this case, he says, the anger is misplaced. He says a water pipe above the doors burst a few years ago, and given the existing sliding door system was reaching the end of its 20-year life expectancy, a decision was made to revamp the entire entryway.
The entire base inside the doors was excavated down to take on a new concrete pad that was put in place to support the door. That was part of the remodeling of the entranceway that came in. There's 2 accessible doors as you come into the building, plus the revolving door.
Still, Councillor Leahy says he wants the region to undertake a value for money audit on the entire upgrade project to make sure taxpayers are getting their money's worth. In the meantime, Leahy asks that people not take their frustrations out on 311 operators that are not involved in decision-making, but to instead register to speak at the September 10th Committee of the Whole meeting.
Taxpayers want to get to the bottom of this. I agree with them. If you are upset about how much was spent on the revolving doors, come through these doors on September 10th and speak to council.
Janice Golding, CTV News.
A motorcyclist has been critically injured after a collision in Oshawa. Durham police say it happened this morning near Park Road and Marland Avenue, south of Gibb Street. One male victim was taken to hospital with life-threatening injuries. Officers say road closures will be in place in the area for several hours. An investigation into the cause of the crash is underway.
To the latest now on the wildfires burning in many parts of this country. In Atlantic Canada, crews are working to protect structures from a blaze on Newfoundland's Avalon Peninsula.
Today we anticipate that the winds will shift, but that continues to make it difficult, and it's an active fire. The winds are now blowing in the opposite direction, so the fire will go back and move from the opposite area where it was burning yesterday.
The Kingston fire has forced residents to flee from their homes in the Kingston Adams Cove Small Point area. Some structures have been lost after the wildfire crew grew to 735 hectares since last night. Another blaze on the peninsula has forced the evacuation of parts of 2 towns, but it appears no structures were lost. There have been 192 fires in the province so far this summer. 8,400 hectares have burned. In Nova Scotia, the government announced more restrictions today to prevent wildfires as the province faces a long stretch of hot, dry weather and little rain.
Effective 4 p.m. today, we're telling Nova Scotians, stay out of the woods. We are restricting travel and activities that really aren't necessary for most of us. Hiking, camping, fishing, and the use of vehicles in the woods are not permitted.
The fine for violating any of the restrictions is $25,000. Camping is allowed, but only at official campgrounds. The Premier says the proactive move is necessary to prevent the type of devastation caused by wildfires 2 years ago. In BC, more than 130 fires are burning across the province. On Vancouver Island, hundreds of people have been forced from their homes. And in Manitoba, a First Nation west of Thompson issued an evacuation order and began trying to move thousands of people out. Manitoba is one of the hardest hit provinces with more than 150 active burning wildfires.
Serving aces and volleying into tennis stardom. Burlington, Ontario's Victoria Mboko will play in the semifinals at the National Bank Open. Still to come, how the 18-year-old success is impacting other young athletes.
But first, as a trade deal with the U.S. remains in limbo, the Prime Minister unveiled new measures today to help the softwood lumber sector.
CTV's Rachel Aiello has the details of Mark Carney's message for the industry.
Unveiling new measures to snap the Canadian softwood sector's U.S. market dependence. Today, Prime Minister Mark Carney promised new loan guarantees and grants to help keep lumber companies afloat, accelerate product development, diversify markets, and fund retraining efforts.
We cannot count or fully rely on what has been our most valued trading relationship for our prosperity.
The move comes after the U.S. raised duties last month, prompting calls to make resolving the dispute a priority in the broader trade talks. Talks that Carney said today are continuing, despite U.S. President Donald Trump's tariff escalation last week.
I haven't spoken to the president in recent days. We'll speak when it makes sense.
Mark Carney has to deliver.
While polls show Canadians appear willing to give Carney more time, pressure is increasing as they watch Trump make deals with other countries.
Canadians are increasingly worried about Trump and the state of the trade negotiations. Concern on that front has been increasing over the last number of weeks.
Today, as both countries work towards a new North American trade pact, two of Carney's top ministers are in Mexico, talking to officials about how they secured a 90-day pause on higher tariffs.
Perhaps we can also learn something from their approach. They took a much more measured and perhaps low-key approach, and it seemed to work for them.
All of this coming the same day that new federal data shows Canada's merchandise trade deficit has widened to the second highest on record since April's historic dip. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
We have breaking labor news that could potentially affect thousands of air travelers. Air Canada flight attendants have voted 99.7% in favor of a strike if necessary. This was the final day for more than 10,000 unionized flight attendants to vote on a strike mandate. They were deciding on whether to give their union the power to call a strike if contract talks with the airline are not successful. Negotiations began at the start of the year. If no collective agreement is reached, the Canadian Union of Public Employees Union said it could give a 72-hour strike notice as early as August 16th. But bargaining is expected to resume at the end of this week, even though the flight attendants have now voted in favor of a strike. Flight attendants in Canada and the U.S. are asking for higher wages and compensation for all their time worked.
Israeli media reports say the country's prime minister is pressing for the full occupation of the Gaza Strip, despite opposition from within the Israeli Defense Forces. Several ministers say Benjamin Netanyahu used the term occupation during private conversations as he tried to rally support for the move. Senior officials were quoted as saying that military operations would even take place in areas where Israeli hostages are believed to be held. The IDF's chief reportedly disagrees with the plan, and a cabinet vote on the idea was reportedly postponed. The United Nations called the reports deeply alarming if true. The UN said the move would risk catastrophic consequences as well as further endanger the lives of the hostages.
And new video reveals the dangers of when an airdropped package lands in Gaza as people scramble for aid. The footage shows hundreds of Palestinians rushing to collect whatever they can. Infighting often breaks out around the packages of aid. One piece of video shows two men wrestling over a package, one even holding a knife. UN aid agencies have called the airdrops a last resort and are calling on Israel to allow more access to people in need inside Gaza.
A new report has found the tragedy involving the Titan submersible was preventable. The tourist craft was on a dive to the Titanic when it imploded back in 2023, killing all 5 on board. The U.S. Coast Guard investigation found major problems with the company behind the Titan, along with its controversial CEO. Here's CTV's John Venevali-Rao.
What happened to the Titan submersible and the loss of everyone on board, including a teenager, was examined extensively by the U.S. Coast Guard. And with the release of a more than 300-page report, an investigative board finding what many have long believed, that this marine casualty and the loss of 5 lives was preventable.
I'm mad because it happened, and I'm sad that all these people lost their lives. And that's why, to me, it should have never happened. It shouldn't have been allowed to happen.
The report placing blame on OceanGate, the American company behind the experimental sub, run by CEO Stockton Rush, who perished in the implosion. It cites inadequate design, certification, maintenance, and inspection processes for the Titan, adding there was a toxic workplace culture. Some who expressed safety concerns were fired or threatened with dismissal.
To start operations, was there pressure?
Oh, 100%.
The report finding the submersible was used despite several prior incidents involving its carbon fiber hull, adding OceanGate was able to operate Titan completely outside the established deep-sea protocols. The Titan had been on a dive off Newfoundland carrying passengers who paid up to $250,000 to see the wreck of the Titanic when the submersible imploded.
The good news is they would have been killed instantly, so they wouldn't have suffered, but they shouldn't have been killed in the first place. This was preventable.
In a statement, OceanGate, which is no longer operating, said we again offer our deepest condolences to the families of those who died and to all those impacted by the tragedy. The report also notes if CEO Stockton Rush had survived, criminal charges against him would have been considered. John Vanavalli-Rouse, CTV News, Toronto.
Back here at home, a longtime principal at a Toronto high school will be staying put. This after students and parents protested his planned transfer this fall. The TDSB says the supervisor at the Ministry of Education chose to keep Barry Sketchley as the principal at Rosedale Heights School of the Arts until he retires next year. CTV News was there as students rallied against his transfer when it was announced in June. Sketchley has been Rosedale Heights principal for more than 30 years.
To an amazing success story on the tennis court. Victoria Mboko is continuing her improbable run at the National Bank Open.
The Burlington native's rapid rise through the ranks is inspiring a new generation of players. CTV's Allison Hurst has the story.
As Victoria Mboko reaches the semifinals in the National Bank Open in Montreal, young tennis players are gripped.
I think that's amazing. It makes me feel pride for someone who came near this area actually got to a really high level at this young age.
Kian Rasulsadeh says it has him thinking about his future in tennis.
It kind of motivates me to pursue tennis.
18-year-old Mboko booked her ticket to the semifinals following a stunning defeat of world number 2 Coco Gauff and another dominant performance in the quarters.
To have such an achievement at a tournament like this is really a milestone for me, and I'm just so happy that I've got to have this whole experience in Montreal.
The Burlington teen is the first Canadian to reach the semis since 2019 when Bianca Andreescu won the tournament, and the youngest woman to reach the semis since 2015.
A year ago, Mboko was ranked outside the top 300. Yes, top 300 in the WTA rankings. And now she's cracked the top 50.
In Montreal, Mboko has dropped just one set.
She was a wild card in this event, so she's going to be enjoying this moment in front of the Montreal crowd, feeding off that raucous energy to try to propel her to the Canadian Open final.
Put your hand up. You like Fortnite.
Nike tennis camp coach Cameron Bentley is using her success and lessons from the court to inspire his campers.
I want them to, you may win the first set, you still got to win the second one. So, yeah, just, enjoy it, I guess. I'm sure she enjoyed it.
Her next match is tomorrow against 9th seed Elena Rybakina. Allison Hurst, CTV News.
Also tonight, could this crop of dry weather be harming the harvest? The growing impact on farmers' fields coming up.
And I'm Pat Foran. Coming up on Consumer Alert, many people use websites to buy and sell items and pay with e-transfers without any issues. But a woman trying to sell some clothing was shocked to have more than $2,700 hacked from her bank account. All of that story, that's just ahead.
We've been hovering around seasonal for the past few days. Yesterday we got up to about 29.3, but overall it gets really hot as we head in towards the second half of our week. So something to consider if you're spending extra time outdoors. Coming up, I'll have a full look at your long-range forecast, and stay with us. We have another full night of great shows for you right here on CTV.
Well, e-transfers, they're one of the most popular ways to send and receive money in Canada, with more than 1 billion transactions happening each year.
It is generally considered a safe way to move money, but e-transfer fraud is on the rise as hackers find new ways to get into your bank account. Here's Pat Foran and Consumer Alert. Pat.
Thanks, Natalie and Raheem. A woman was trying to sell some clothing on a website, and someone offered to buy a set of pajamas for $40. The buyer sent what looked like a link to an e-transfer, but it was a scam, and her bank account was hacked of more than $2,700.
I was shocked. I thought this could never happen to me.
Lola Bielavuk of Toronto was using Poshmark, a website that brings together buyers and sellers, allowing users to purchase new and secondhand items. Bielavuk posted pajamas for $40, and someone offered to buy them.
I saw a link there that was for $40, which is what I was selling it for, an e-transfer. Perfect.
Bielavuk says she was sent what looked like a regular e-transfer link, so she decided to deposit the money.
I clicked Tangerine. I put in my client number and password. So I entered in the security code thinking everything is fine.
But after she did that, the website froze. Someone she didn't know added their name to her e-transfer contact list, and she was scammed out of $2,740. This happened in January. She's been trying for 6 months to get her money back without success.
And I was told that my claim was denied, that I was the one that was negligent.
Tangerine Bank told CTV News Tangerine will never ask you to download software or remote access apps, and you should never share your login information or one-time passcodes with anyone.
Think before you click. Just don't go ahead and click on links that have been sent to you.
Cybersecurity expert Ritesh Kotek says AI is making it easier for criminals to create real-looking e-transfers and banking websites. He says scammers send fake links hoping you'll click on them.
You think you're logging into a financial institution such as your bank, but in actuality, you're logging in and giving your information to these fraudsters and hackers.
Kotak advises using auto deposits, strong passwords, and making sure you're on trusted websites. After CTV News reached out to Tangerine Bank, they reviewed Bielavuk's case again and told her, our recovery efforts with the other financial institution were ultimately successful and your funds have been fully recovered. Bielavuk has now been given a full refund, which was great news for her.
Thank you, CTV, for helping me get my money back. From the bottom of my heart, I'm so grateful. Thank you for everything.
And when using e-transfer with family and friends, you may not need to be as cautious, but when dealing with people you don't know, take extra time. Make sure everything is legitimate, and if something seems off, don't click on links or provide your personal information. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
If you have a consumer story idea, email us at alert@ctv.ca.
Well, the good news is that the air quality has improved. I was looking at it earlier, but Toronto's still in the top 10 in terms of most polluted cities right now, so it's not great.
You can still see and even feel the haze in the air, and you pair that with the hot temperatures, and you know what? We're still right in the middle of August. This summer is still in full swing.
It's better than it was, but it still ain't great. So if you have plans outside, maybe you want to enjoy your evening, just be careful because it's still going to be a little messy. And if you thought sunscreen was just for people, guys, that's not the case. It turns out it's for, you know, all kinds of different things. A vineyard owner in Italy, well, they're putting sunscreen on their grapes. It just goes to show you, if you got sensitive skin, delicate skin, now, it is made of a mineral rock powder, so it's not just regular old sunscreen, but still, you got to be careful. And this just goes to show you that even the fruits and veggies need a little help sometimes. Now, if you're heading out this evening, I know it's been challenging if you play sports in the evening, especially if you have little ones. You may not have been able to go out because of the air quality statements, but some good news. At least tonight, temperature-wise, it's okay. We're not under those air quality statements, and overall, we're kind of in that mid-20 range, still dealing with the humidex. Right now, though, right across southern Ontario, we're still holding on to a ton of heat, 28, feeling like 30. We don't lose much of that warmth as we head into this evening, and it's hot north, south, east, west, the entire province under that bit of a ridge in the jet stream, keeping temperatures pretty high. Tonight, sitting at 20 degrees, we should be at 17. Anywhere east of the GTA is closer to seasonal, but it's still very warm as we head in towards this evening. Stepping into the day tomorrow, another one just above seasonal. We're not that far above where we should be, but you factor in the humidex and the UV index, which is on the higher side for almost everybody, verging on extreme. Just be careful. Again, enjoy the summer. You got to get out. We only have what feels like 2 seconds of summer, but you have to enjoy it safely. Not much going on in the way of any active weather. We're holding on to a few areas of high pressure, but truly any rain that comes through in the next few days is staying north of the city or outside of the GTA. So I know it's summer and a lot of folks are traveling, so keep in mind it may be raining where you are if you're heading outside of the GTA. The rest of our evening, though, honestly, it's not that bad. It's pretty nice outside. We hold on to all that warmth overnight, and we stay at 20 degrees to start the day tomorrow. Pop-up showers through Waterloo region areas north of Aurora and down towards Niagara, but for the most part, the GTA staying clear of any active weather, and then it trickles its way further east into our Wednesday evening. Throughout the day on Thursday, a little cloud cover to start, but overall, it's pretty nice outside, all things considered. The same into our Thursday evening. Temperatures are kind of at or just around the seasonal mark over the next few days, but it's the weekend where things start to get really, really warm. Again, the humidex values in that mid to kind of upper 30 range. And that's really increasing as we head in towards your Saturday and Sunday. The overnight lows, we should be at 17, so we're not far off again of where we should be until we get in towards the end of the weekend and beginning of next week. That chance of showers as we head in towards Friday really is in the areas outside of the GTA, but it's just on the cusp, so that's why we're in that window there. Temperature-wise, as we head into your Saturday and Sunday, if you have outdoor plans, just plan accordingly. It's going to be around 30 degrees. We're going to feel those humidex values in that mid to upper 30 range. And it only gets hotter as we head in towards kind of the beginning of next week. Likely we could see some heat warnings pop up if we hold on to these 30-degree temps as we head in towards your Monday and Tuesday. But regardless, it's hot, it's humid. Just be careful. Unfortunately, not a ton of real heavy rain in the forecast through July. We had about 2 days where the bulk of our rainfall came from. We're still early days into August, but we'll keep an eye on Tuesday to see if those showers come to fruition. Hopefully this helps you plan. For now, Natalie and Raheem, I'll send things back to you.
Well, no rain in the forecast is bad news for farmers who are feeling the effects of 3 straight months of below average rainfall.
In the Ottawa region, some are seeing dry fields for the first time in years, while others say their crops are still hanging on. CTV's Dave Charbonneau has more.
Last year was the wettest year ever. And this year is the driest I've seen. We want moisture to keep the silks moist.
At Maple Hill Urban Farm in Ottawa's West End, manager Don Trott says this season's crop of corn might not be as big as in years past.
I really haven't been concerned about the dry weather until the last week or so when corn starts tasseling. And that's the kind of a critical time for the corn crop.
Forecast in Ottawa and Eastern Ontario shows a minimal chance of rain over the next week. Environment Canada's rainfall in July was about half of the normal average. That could affect crops, including corn.
Corn's pollinating, the silks are moist, and the pollen's got to hit that moist silk in order to pollinate the corn. And then you need the moisture to fill out the kernels.
Look at it, it's right there. There's lots of water in the soil.
On another section of the same farm, farmer Steve Baker says he's not worried for now.
Also, the plant is going to collect humidity every morning. It's going to run it right down its stalk into the ground, right at its root. So, yeah, I don't worry too much about dry weather.
You can see it dry.
Over at Veggie Trail Farms, some of their crops have also been affected by the hot, dry weather.
My kale is coarse because it's hot, it's dry. The leaves are coarser than normal.
But many of their plants are doing fine. Owner Tammy Bannon says they are built to cope with these types of conditions.
It affects us, but my plants are more drought tolerant. Because we don't irrigate, okay, the roots go down. They go down deep. And feel the moisture on the root.
Yeah, it's nice and cool too.
Okay, it's cool and it's moist down there, and all those nutrients are deep down in the soil.
Some produce may be smaller this year due to the lack of rain, but Bannon says there's a silver lining to the quality.
Corn, tomatoes, peaches, you know, they'll be smaller, but they'll be sweeter.
Dave Charbonneau, CTV News.
Well, it has been 27 years since measles was declared eliminated in Canada, but a surge in cases could soon change that. After the break, we'll hear from a woman who was hospitalized despite being vaccinated decades ago.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Canadian medical experts say measles transmission in our country continues to soar.
As CTV's health reporter Pauline Chan tells us, it could result in Canada losing its status as a country in which measles has been eliminated in a matter of weeks.
Canada was declared to have eliminated measles in 1998.
So measles elimination is defined by the World Health Organization, and it means that within a certain geographical area, in this case Canada, that there is no sustained transmission of measles over a 12-month period.
Jana Shapiro from the University of Toronto says it doesn't mean there were 0 cases, just no sustained transmission.
And now that we've seen a resurgence in the past year or so in Canada, we are at risk of losing that elimination elimination status in 2025.
10 of our 13 provinces and territories have seen cases. Alberta has over 1,600 cases of measles, and Ontario has seen more than 2,300.
We really had our bulk of our cases in kind of March, April, but that's not yet the case in Alberta. I think there's still quite a few new cases being reported on a weekly basis.
Many of the cases sprang from a single event in New Brunswick last October, which led to transmission in other provinces.
I have a lot of concerns, very deep concerns, professionally, foremost, and also personally. Professionally, because measles is truly the most contagious virus that you can come in contact with.
Michelle Knorr was diagnosed with measles in May and was hospitalized for several days despite getting a vaccination decades ago. And as a teacher, she worries about measles spread.
Average 32 kids in a classroom in city schools. It would be a really dangerous thing to have classrooms of children taken out by the measles. And most will manage it. Most will be able to be resilient and overcome it, but some may not.
Shapiro says Canada could lose its measles eliminated status as early as October and says public health vaccination efforts must continue. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
The Canadian Food Inspection Agency has issued a recall notice for some chocolate. There are concerns about possible salmonella contamination related to the Dubai brand pistachio and Kanefa milk chocolate. It is distributed in Quebec and sold online. The federal agency discovered the potential contamination in some affected products during a food safety investigation. No illnesses have been reported. The notice says the recalling firm is Distribution Bonbons JJ Candy.
The Juno Awards are adding a dash of Latin flavor to next year's festivities. Organizers plan to introduce Latin Music Recording of the Year at the 2026 show. The new category will recognize Canadian musicians across all Latin American languages and genres who have released music in the eligible year. It is the latest move by the Junos to diversify how it recognizes Canadian creators and the evolving national music scene.
The Toronto International Film Festival has revealed its lineup of international films, including a Canadian remake of the hockey classic Youngblood. The reimagined drama that was partially filmed in Barrie is among the 55 titles in TIFF's Centerpiece program. The 2025 version of Youngblood revisits the 1986 cult classic that starred Rob Lowe, Patrick Swayze, and Keanu Reeves, this time following an African-American hockey prodigy played by Ashton James. Oscar-nominated Canadian filmmaker Hubert Davis is the director. TIFF runs from September 4th to 14th, and details of the full lineup can be found online. Also tonight, distraction theft targeting the elderly. A 90-year-old Ottawa woman shares a heartbreaking story. How a thief stole a ring with sentimental value right off her finger. Her warning for others.
It's a shame because she works over there at the laundromat. She's a wonderful, wonderful lady.
Updating our top stories now, friends and neighbors have identified a woman killed in an altercation in Brampton as a, quote, wonderful senior named June who worked at a nearby laundromat. Police were called to Centre Street and Queen Street East around 12:30 a.m. for reports of a fight. One person was found dead, 2 others seriously injured. 64-year-old Wilfred Kent is charged with second-degree murder.
I live in this area, so usually when I go here, I would be able to see the CN Tower really clearly, but today not much. I was taking the picture of the CN Tower, but couldn't really see.
After days of hazy wildfire smoke in the city, the air quality alert for Toronto has now been lifted, and conditions are forecast to improve over the next 2 days. Environment Canada says the GTA has had 12 days under some type of air quality alert so far this year. That matches the total number of alerts in all of 2023.
Taxpayers want to get to the bottom of this. I agree with them. If you are upset about how much was spent on the revolving doors, come through these doors on September 10th and speak to council.
311 operators are receiving support from their employer amid angry phone calls about a new revolving door at Durham Regional Headquarters. The energy-saving entrance cost nearly $1 million. The operators were not involved in any of the decision-making and are being urged to take breaks and seek support from the Employee Assistance Program when needed.
Remember to keep up to date day and night at ctvnewstoronto.ca and by downloading the CTV News app.
On the markets, the Canadian dollar is down a fraction to 72.52 cents U.S. Our fix on Western Canadian Select has it down to 65.16 a barrel, and the TSX ended the day up 549 points to 27,570.
The Business Report is brought to you by Canadian Western Bank, the bank built for business.
Canada's total trade deficit in June was the second highest on record. It hit $5.9 billion. Total imports were up by 1.4%, the first increase in 4 months. The gain was largely due to imports of industrial machinery. Total exports, those rose 0.9%, following a 2% increase in May. Exports of energy products contributed the most to the increase. A 90-year-old Ottawa woman is speaking out after becoming the victim of a distraction theft. It's a cautionary tale, and unfortunately, one that's happened before. CTV's Katie Griffin reports.
Thank God she didn't get this one, because that was my wedding ring.
At 90 years old, Terry Thompson has seen a lot. Never anything like this.
And I look at my hand, my ring was gone. She took the ring at the same time that she took the old ring off.
While having a smoke outside Ogilvie Villa retirement home Sunday, Thompson says she was approached by a woman who forcefully put jewelry on her.
I said, I don't want any. You keep it, you wear it. And all of a sudden, she grabbed my hand, put the ring on, and then all of a sudden, she took it off. I said, take that off. And she was gone in about a second.
Also gone, a cherished aquamarine and diamond ring.
You know, my husband gave me that in 1975.
The loss of it, heartbreaking.
I'm sad for my mom, upset. Hopefully they can catch this person.
Last month, police asked for help identifying suspects involved in distraction thefts targeting the elderly, including a 92-year-old robbed of a necklace and 2 rings in her driveway on Hillary Avenue, and a gold necklace stolen from a 94-year-old on Beaver Pond Drive. To help protect yourself from distraction thefts, police say to avoid displaying expensive or sentimental jewelry in public. Stay alert to your surroundings, especially in parking lots. Don't allow strangers to touch you, and if approached under suspicious circumstances, walk away and seek help. From Thompson, a simple plea.
Please bring my ring back.
Katie Griffin, CTV News, Ottawa.
The Toronto Blue Jays will go for the series win in Colorado tonight following an offensive outburst in Game 1.
Varsho drives it, right field and deep, turning at the wall, Freeman, see you later!
The Jays had a season-high 25 hits en route to a 15-1 win last night. Toronto leads the American League East by 3 games over Boston and is tied with Detroit for the best record in the AL. Jose Barrios gets the start for Toronto this evening in Game 2 of a 3-game series against the Rockies.
Still ahead tonight, an Olympian's quest for gold. The hunt for a beloved bracelet and the first place find. The unlikely win for one Canadian athlete. After the break.
Tonight, serious warnings about wildfires.
We're telling Nova Scotians, stay out of the woods.
The outdoor activities restricted, the consequences of breaking the rules, and where air quality is getting worse. Later on CTV National News.
Finally tonight, a bike ride through Vancouver's Stanley Park turned into a desperate search when a Canadian Olympian lost a special gold bracelet.
It's something Madison Maley bought to celebrate her team's gold medal victory in Tokyo. As Sinjin Alexander reports, she turned to a specialized sleuth for help.
Chris Turner is the first to admit you can't find them all. But he has been successful more than 500 times, he says, and that's why his friends call him the ring finder.
Doing this and holding up somebody's ring and seeing how it affects their life is the best thing I've ever done.
His latest client, Vancouver's Madison Maley, who bought this Cartier bracelet to remember her rowing team's gold medal victory in Tokyo, says it vanished on Thursday while she was out for a bike ride in Stanley Park.
And had it inscribed with Olympic champion, Canadian women's aid.
Her husband, Olympian Maxwell Latimer, helped her search up and down without any luck until dark. As a last resort, they picked up the phone.
Okay, so we came around the trail.
Now on the job, the ring finder wasn't thrilled with the odds.
Yeah, it didn't sound good. I mean, how do you actually retrace a bike path and for maybe 2 or 3 miles?
But before they even began to look, the jewel sleuth asked a good 20 minutes worth of questions when something triggered and he knew how to focus the hunt.
Let me just see something.
With Maley at work, the men took the road less traveled, where the path narrows near Beaver Lake.
Max, whatever you do, keep focused on the right side, because if we're going to find it, it's going to be on the right side.
And within minutes,
Max looks down and goes...
Max found one half.
And the look, his eyes were like this big.
The ring finder, the other.
He was vibrating. He was so excited because Max really didn't think there was a chance.
I'm shaking.
How does that feel?
We gave up last night.
How does that feel?
Time to tell Maley they played it coy.
I felt like I won the gold medal.
I can't believe it.
By the way, the bracelet wasn't broken. It just needs a couple of screws and is as good as new and back where it belongs. St. John Alexander, CTV News, Vancouver.
Wow. Okay, quickly before we go, let's talk about the weather story, Jess.
Yes.
The heat is hot, in your words. What do we have before us?
The heat is hot. The weather is weathering. It is going to be a really beautiful week, but you have to be careful. Heat stroke and heat exhaustion can happen so quickly, especially if you are more sensitive to the heat. And we want to enjoy our summer safely, right? We're into that, I want to say final stretch, although I know it's the beginning of August. To me,
a couple more weeks.
Raheem, it's already over. I'm just kidding. I'm very dramatic if you guys can't tell. But we are looking at a beautiful and fairly dry forecast. We're sitting still at 28 right now. It feels like 30, so don't let it fool you that we're getting later in the day. It's still very warm. And if you got kids in camp tomorrow, maybe you're a camp counselor, hydrate. The good news is, well, at least there's not a lot of rain, or maybe you need rain, depends on what your job is. But overall, we're getting back into the 30s this weekend, so enjoy it safely.
All right, we will. Thank you, Jess. Be sure to join Heather Butts tonight at 11 for CTV National News, followed by Zoraida Allman with our next local newscast at 11:30.
In the meantime, our coverage continues anytime on CP24 and online at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Jessica Smith and all of us here at CTV News, thank you for watching. Have a good night.